I have to have my microphone way up here so that this bar isn't covering this little angel face right here. She elected to come all the way down here on the... Anyways. Hey, friendo, Steve here. Welcome back to WrestleJuice. So, unfortunately, CM Punk was injured with a triceps tear during the Royal Rumble, and on this week's Monday Night Raw, he, in a really impassioned promo, said that, you know, I'm from Chicago and I don't quit, and I'm the best in the world, but then I've got this friend with cancer. He's the best in the world. I got kind of choked up listening to the guy, to be honest with you. And that was his roundabout way of saying, I'm coming back. My WrestleMania dream is still unfulfilled, and I'm going to get there, darn it. And it turns out he's going to be gone. After surgery, it takes around 4 to 6 months to, I guess, rehab. You know, it's a sad situation because, you know, obviously he had just gotten back in November, and I think a lot of people are really anticipating this Seth Rollins CM Punk matchup, and unfortunately at the Royal Rumble, to set all that up, now that we're past the Rumble, he's not going to be available for that. And then they did this great angle where Drew McIntyre came down and took out CM Punk even more. It was a really, really well done promo. Drew McIntyre was pretty great, saying, I'm not a spiritual person, but I prayed for this to happen, and it came true. Oh, man, I actually gasped out loud when Drew McIntyre said that. So I thought it would be interesting here at WrestleJuice to take a look at 5 ideas for who can replace CM Punk in his match against Seth Rollins. Figure that would be the match that was going to go down. So basically this is for a match for the World Heavyweight Championship against Seth freaking Rollins. Of course, Rollins came out, interrupted Cody's promo last night and pitched to him a title match for his title. And so at number 5, we got Cody Rhodes right here and Seth Rollins. Of course, Cody is up on Seth Rollins 3-0 in individual head-to-head matchups going back to Cody's return to WWE, including that Hell in a Cell where he had the torn triceps as well. And so here's the thing about Seth Rollins, his pitch. He made a lot of really good points. Roman Reigns at this point has turned that title into something that, I don't know, fans are just sort of over. So it's like, hey, this is the Dusty title. This is the working man's title. This is the title that I have made for the people, by the people, for us, by us. It's the FUBU brand title. I thought he made a very compelling argument. I don't think that Seth Rollins believed it because going out there, I thought it was hilarious having Seth Rollins go out there and basically beg Cody Rhodes to choose him for that Royal Rumble WrestleMania spot. But I thought he made a pretty compelling case to Cody Rhodes about what he should do. It's not going to happen, but that's a solid number 5 right there. By the way, side note, you guys are probably going to boo me for my number 1 is, but let's go ahead and dive into number 4. And that number 4 is Damian Priest. This dude is just sitting on Money in the Bank. Why was he even in the Rumble when all he has to do is go to Nick Aldis or Adam Pearce or Nick Aldis, depending on which title he wants to fight for, and say, hey, I got this briefcase right here. I'm going to be in the main event of WrestleMania. Mr. Kennedy, I think, was going to do that. RVD did that. Senor Money in the Bank could do that. You just grab that briefcase and be like, hey, this is now for a WrestleMania main event title shot. Instead of all this, oh, when am I going to cash in? Because clearly the guy, he's not able to cash in. It is kind of interesting with Damian Priest, though, is that, number 1, any of these matches that I'm mentioning here, you can plop him in because he could very well cash in at WrestleMania. One of my predictions is, in fact, that night 1, early in the show, they'll have the tag title match. He'll lose the tag title match and then enter the Money in the Bank, using the Money in the Bank, the world title match, and probably come out of WrestleMania as world champion. We're going to see if that happens. Didn't I predict that or something for next year? Yeah, for this year's Money in the Bank, I predicted that. Not WrestleMania. They should still do that Money in the Bank because I'll look like a genius. So Damian Priest, he could easily just use that briefcase and say, hey, I want my WrestleMania moment. Kind of interesting, too. It seemed like for a spell, they were going to have Priest go face and get like kicked out of Judgment Day, and then Priest would sort of, I don't know, have a friend in R-Truth. It looked like he was going face with his, with the fact that he kind of liked what R-Truth was doing, and they have completely gone away from that. He is firmly back into I'm a bad guy territory. And so I guess, maybe the natural sort of thing to take away from that is, hey, Seth Rollins is a good guy, and Senor Money in the Bank has got to be a bad guy for him to cash this thing in and for it to make sense. The traditional bad guy cash in, the opportunistic thing. So I don't know. Damian Priest is something they could do. I don't think they're going to do it, though, because I don't think they've established him enough. But I think they're getting there. I really do with Damian Priest, especially like he's a bit more aggressive in the ring. He's a bit more violent these days. I like what they're doing with him, and I think it's starting to work. I think he'll get there. He was lost for a little while there, but I think he'll get there. Number 3 is, of course, the one that everybody in my orbit wants to see desperately, and that's the ring general Gunther. Who wouldn't want to see Raw title for Raw title for title, and Gunther do what clearly Triple H probably would love to see anyways. Have him be a champ, have him walk in as Intercontinental Champion and have him walk out with the world title. Oh man, I would love to see that. I think everybody that I know is a big Gunther fan. The guy goes in there, he doesn't even have like a proper finishing move. Sometimes the power bomb, sometimes he taps fools out, sometimes he passes fools out, sometimes he uses, I don't know, a big lariat. This dude is awesome. He was my wrestler of last year. He'll probably end up being my wrestler. He had a killer match with Kofi Kingston on Raw. Man, that was awesome. A lot of people suspected he might be the Rumble winner. He was like third in the betting odds. And they set up a potential feud down the line between him and Seth Rollins. Yeah, man, I think Gunther being in that spot would be absolutely phenomenal. Evidently, according to CM Punk's promo anyways, they're going to be using the Elimination Chamber to determine who the number 1 contender is going to be. And evidently, Gunther has visa issues. He can't travel outside the United States for a while. So it's probably not going to end up being Gunther. My personal suspicion is they're going to somehow get to either Gunther versus Jey Uso because they were doing the New Day thing with Imperium. So maybe it'll be main event Jey Uso. They didn't really do much to set up anything between Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso, but I guess they could fast track that. There's still 2 months left until WrestleMania. But yeah, Gunther versus other. Also, this would be the best match of them all. Believe that. That would be the best match of them all. Anyways, let's move on to number 2. Number 2, it seems like kind of obvious at this point that this is the one that's going to happen, and it's going to be Drew McIntyre. The only hesitation I've ever had with Drew McIntyre is just the reports that he hasn't signed a new contract with WWE, and his contract's supposed to happen sometime after WrestleMania. Now, I suppose what they could do is, because WrestleMania is in early April, it's like the 1st and 2nd of April, what they could do is just, if he's not going to sign a new contract, go through with the match. If he signs a new contract, do the thing where he wins the title. I think you need to do a changing of the title pretty soon. You do that, or if he doesn't sign a new contract and is like, hey, man, I'm going to do everything I can to help you guys out until my time is up, but I'm going to take a break, or I'm going to go to AEW. They could just have him lose to Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. I mean, it's not unheard of. That's happened before. People have lost and they move on to a different place. Sid did it like 5 times. So yeah, you could definitely, I think this is probably going to be the match. At this point, this makes all the sense in the world that it's going to be Drew McIntyre versus Seth freaking Rollins. But what if they didn't do that? What if Seth Rollins coming out and pitching his title to Cody, get something stirring in Cody's head? What if Seth Rollins is like, hey man, this is the Dusty title. This is the Workhorse Championship. You want this one? But Cody's still thinking, yeah, but that one doesn't have the lineage. That doesn't have the title that my dad didn't win. The other one does. But I really like your title, Seth. And if that's the case, then fuck it. It's 40. It's a multiple of 10. So you do Cody and Roman. You do a triple threat at WrestleMania. Why wouldn't you do this? You unify the titles. It's perfect. Look, Cody is clearly, man, with all this Vince McMahon stuff going on, I've seen so many people on social media say, in 5 years, Cody Rhodes is going to be running this place, which is a wild prediction, but I can kind of see it too. Anyways, he's clearly the face of the company, and I know a lot of you think that people are going to start booing him. It does not seem anywhere close to him being booed at this point. Nobody whats him. Nobody boos him. They love singing his song. They love Cody. He connects with the crowd. People love this guy. It's insane. So why don't you go in there and you have him beat both Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins? Here's my problem with it, is that it's kind of cheaty, because then it's not like the one-on-one I beat you thing. It's like, I beat you after you got stumped by Seth Rollins and I gave Seth Rollins a crossroads kind of thing. And he picks up both titles. So I don't know. Just look, man, you want all the star power loaded up into one huge night 2 main event, and then you cleared that night 1 main event for Bayley versus Io, which is kind of what it should be. I was originally thinking it should be Rhea Becky, but man, this Bayley Io stuff is going to be really good. And I think it's going to be, Bayley is the best one of, like, probably a top 3 wrestler in the entire company, in my opinion, and definitely number 1 in the women's division. Man, Io might be number 1 though. I don't know. Anyways, but it clears way for the women's title to be main eventing night 1, which it should. Bayley won the women's Royal Rumble. You should get a main event out of that, right? So then you put all those big titles in night 2. Go ahead. Load up the comments. Say, oh, no, this is a dumbass idea. Steve's going to be Drew McIntyre. It should be Gunther, whatever. I already named them, but you can't tell me this would be fucking awesome. The Shield, and then also Cody. Think about it. Let me get them out of here so you guys can see Gypsy again. Look at her. Oh, look, she moved spots. There. Anyways, hey, got some merchandise. Got some WrestleJuice merchandise up over at friendoshop.com. Right now, you can use promo code Friendo 2020. I almost said Roman 2024. That should be the WrestleMania promo code for Friendo Shop, is Roman 2024, as we bid adieu to his title reign, because Cody Rhodes is totally going to win that title, and it might not be Seth Rollins in that match, but